Hey guys, yeah, just here to talk a little wrestling. Um, of course, I'm off today. It's Saturday and everything, so thank God for that. I'm able to rest up. You can kind of tell I'm still a little tired. First week back, really takes a lot out on you. But let's talk a little wrestling. In fact, right now, Bad Blood is going on as we speak. I'll probably be watching the replay later on. I'm keeping track of it through Twitter and such, and like I said, I'll probably watch the replay later. So that way I can just fast forward to like what matches I want to see and segments and stuff. So, that's probably what I'll do. But again, I'm keeping tabs on it. But one of the big news items that came out from tonight, just moments ago, right now it's about 5:17 p.m. Pacific. One of the news items to come out of tonight was the introduction of a men's and women's Crown Jewel Championship that's going to be obviously crowned and awarded at Crown Jewel next month or later this month. And it's going to be the women's champion and the women's world champion, against each other, and the world champion and the WWE champion against each other. Now, right now, pretty much we have an idea as to who that might be going forward. But be that as it may, a lot of people look at this and they have mixed reactions about it. Some are fine with it and some are not. Some feel that it's going to make, one world championship that is seem less important and the other more significant. But the vibe others, and including myself, have gotten from this is the fact that it's not particularly going to do that. I mean, the championships, I believe, are not going to really suffer as a result. Basically, as stated in the promo, it's to determine who's going to be the best of the best. In other words, who is the true top tier champion in WWE. Like who has definitely, and definitively earned the right to be called champion of the respective divisions. And the other thing about this that people like is, from what I'm kind of sensing, is they're basically making this feel like, more of an annual event instead of something that, is going to be constant. And they're not coming out and saying that this is going to be like a bragging rights event or a Survivor Series under Vince McMahon where it's brand versus brand. Technically it will be, but it's not going to be basically, an all brand versus brand like event. Instead, it's going to be essentially, it's just going to focus on the top tier champions of the respective divisions to see who is the best, going forward for the rest of the year. So, in other words, let's say Cody, who is the champion right now, WWE champion, goes on to win this. Then for the next year, he's considered the best champion. He is basically above the world champion. And yes, it will elevate the championships they're holding, as well as the brand they're a part of, but it won't in any circumstance, in my opinion, devalue the other championship at the same time. It won't do that. It'll just basically, from a story perspective, and I do trust Triple H and his team when they work on these kind of things. It'll make the champion, the world champion, who doesn't win, even more determined to make their championship just as important, if not more important, than the champion who became Crown Jewel champion, if that makes any sense. So right now, Nia Jax, she is the women's champion over on SmackDown. Let's say she loses to whoever the women's world champion is on Raw. Right now it's Liv Morgan, and it could be going forward. Basically, if she loses to Liv, that potentially could make in story Nia, who's looked at as a queen, basically taking on the role of a queen, a bully queen, a queen of intimidation, a kind of a Disney-ish like Queen of Hearts, because remember the Queen of Hearts, how she was portrayed in the original Disney classic. That's kind of the vibe I get from Nia here. It's just sort of thrown in with the whole intimidation, bullying factor of she's looking at Tiffany and saying basically, don't you ever dare think about cashing in on me because I don't want to lose this title to another blonde like you. So I could see. So I could see someone like Nia being, with that kind of persona where she's the queen of the ring for this year, and wanting to add another accolade to it. Basically wanting to prove herself again, wanting to prove that she is still queen. She is the superior one, and that nobody is going to take that away from her. And her losing to the women's world champion, could play a factor in that in the long run, at least for the next year, where she wants to prove her championship is just as important as the women's world championship, if not more so, despite not winning the crown jewel title. So that's the vibe I get from it. That's the vibe I get from it, to where, from a story aspect, it makes the champion who doesn't win want to, be more, motivated and determined to, make their championship as important, if not more prestigious, than the crown jewel championship that they have. Like if Gunther wins, it's going to make Cody want to continue making the WWE championship more valuable and more prestigious than the world championship is being looked at now, since Gunther won the crown jewel championship to add to that accolade. So that's what I get from it. That's what I get from it. From a story perspective, the winner of the match, or the winner of the matches, I should say, in the crown jewel titles, it helps their championships become more prestigious and elevated, in a huge way. Well, from a story perspective, it'll make those that don't win want to build, credibility and prestige, for their championships, while in defeat. In other words, basically make their titles just as important, if not more important, in the long run, building up to the next annual crown jewel event, whether that's next November in 2025 or even sooner, where we would have a new champion crowned. And that's the other vibe too that people are getting from this, is that it's basically, again, an annual event to where whoever wins, they are the best of the best, as far as world champions go, for at least, from November 2024 to about November 2025, or whenever the next crown jewel event is. And I like that concept. I like that idea. It's kind of like in sports, if you will. It's kind of like in sports, to where basically if you have somebody that's a defending champion, for the Super Bowl or for the World Series or whatever, they basically, have the next, they're basically given that accolade for the next season, going into the next season, and they have the opportunity to defend that accolade. They have an opportunity to defend their title going into that postseason if they make it into the postseason. Unfortunately, the Texas Rangers this year didn't get that chance to do it, but if they had, they had that opportunity. In fact, they did have that opportunity throughout the whole season. They just fell off, at the last possible moment when they shouldn't have. But had they kept course, and I say with all due respect to Ranger fans, had they kept course, there's no doubt they probably would have been able to get the opportunity to be in the postseason and defend their titles. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, you look at what's going on right now with the NFL. It just started a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, I should say. And Kansas City right now is on a roll to the point that they have the opportunity, currently, to not only make the playoffs again if the season was to end today, but also have the opportunity to get back to the Super Bowl and try to three-peat and successfully defending their title as Super Bowl champions. That's kind of what this announcement is giving me, in those kind of vibes. It's not like the whole bragging rights, brand versus brand thing with Survivor Series, because even when that took place, there was no acknowledgement throughout the rest of the year of, oh, Raw's the superior brand because they won a Survivor Series, or they won most of the matches, the majority of the matches in Survivor Series, or they're the superior brand because they won a majority of the matches at bragging rights, or NXT the superior brand because they won a majority of the matches at the 2019 Survivor Series. And there was no acknowledgement, no callback to that. So how does people know one brand is the superior brand if they're not given a callback or an acknowledgement of when that, accolade was given to said brand? So to me, this feels like, if they're going to do it correctly, like we're all hoping they will, this feels and sounds like the kind of opportunity to where, you can have something, of that matter established. And I like it. I do like the idea of them going in that direction. So to me, I don't have an issue with the Crown Jewel Championship being introduced tonight at Bad Blood. I like the idea that it's going to be an annual like event, and it's going to be treated more like a traditional annual event, and not just something that's annual but never acknowledged throughout the rest of the year. You know, when it comes to, let's say, brand versus brand. I mean, the closest we ever got of any kind of acknowledgement was Money in the Bank, and they barely, under the Vince McMahon era, you know, and just once in the Triple H era, they never once let that really simmer, at least for a couple of months. You know, they never did. You know, they never let it simmer. They never let it get boiled, you know, boiled over to a, you know, to a perfection that needed to be, you know, boiled up to. But here, it sounds like they're going to make it, you know, they're going to make something like this situation matter in the long run. They're going to make it matter, you know, on a yearly basis. So I'm happy that they're doing that. And right now, we'll just have to sit back and see exactly what matches we're going to be getting at Crown Jewel, you know, as far as the champions go. I mean, one match I think is pretty much locked. The other match, we'll have to see after tonight. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Let me know how you feel about the Crown Jewel Championship being introduced tonight, and it basically, hopefully, being a traditional, legitimate annual event that's not forgotten or anything. Let me know how you feel about it. Comment below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel. Also, check out my Teespring store. Link is in the description at the bottom, and click on the links elsewhere in the description to check out my content elsewhere, as well as at divanart.com at BVW1979. But guys, give me your thoughts. Love to hear how you feel about the Crown Jewel title being introduced tonight, and how do you think it's going to how do you think it's going to shape up? And until